You get to that stage. That's good. Hold on.
How are you? All good.
That's good.
Guys, you need Jim?
Right. We'll just teeter for a while.
Everybody behaves. All right, here we go. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of the meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time and date and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provision of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Albright Troxel? Here. Mrs. Grace Lowe?
She's on vacation, I'm sorry.
Mr. Nash?
Here.
Mrs. Walters? Here. Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Carlemere?
He is ill.
Mr. Curtis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
I'm here.
Mr. McGill?
Here. Before we go to the public portion, there is a walk-on and addendum, resolution 2408-298. It's on the bulletin board there. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of a sidebar agreement to the collective negotiations agreement between the Township of Gloucester and the Teamsters Union Local 500. Teamsters Union Local 500 is the bargaining unit for the sewer utility employees. Mr. Curtis had met with representatives of the Teamsters and also the sewer utility employees and their attorney, and this is providing a offer of continued employment to all the employees that are existing with the present Teamsters Local 500 executed agreement in the event of a sale of the sewer utilities approved by the voters on November 2024 referendum. So in essence, everyone who's working there now will continue to be employed by the township under this agreement. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Mr. Cars? No. All right, thank you very much. So that'll be placed on our agenda at the end of the consent agenda. We'll now open up the public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone addressing council may speak one time. They're entitled to 3 minutes apiece. Once all those wishing to address council have had their turns, they may address council second time, only if it adds to what was said earlier, not repeating earlier statements. There are 15 minutes allocated for the first public portion. Would anyone like to speak? Mr. Leader.
David Leader, 1105 Huntington Avenue, Glendora. How does one find the advertisements for the Bob's Del Sordo sale of the township property? Is there a newsletter or something goes out?
The advertisements for his services or for the auction?
For the auction, that's what, I wanted to see what's at auction.
Okay. They're in the Courier Post and also in the clerk's office.
Correct.
Thank you. And I'm a little concerned. Are you going to vote to approve 298 tonight?
Yes.
So it hasn't been publicly seen. I don't have a copy here.
We placed it on as an add-on.
It's been there Friday as an add-on. Okay. It's the way you worded it. it's just hard to comprehend why American Water wouldn't want the town's expertise.
They still have the option, sir, to continue employment with Gloucester Township or seek employment with American Water.
Oh, I
That
see.
option
It's
still
an either
remains.
or.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, Ms. Smithman, sorry about that.
Hello, good evening, council.
Ms. Smith?
My name is Shaughnessy
Is there a reason why you
Smithman.
moved the microphone?
You know, it seems as though the placement of chairs in this section has been moved forward some, so I didn't want to crowd anybody in the public participating, so I moved the microphone a little bit further away.
So when you're done, can you move it back to where it was? Thank you.
If that's a request, of course, thank you. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens Apartment Complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. Good evening, council. On the resolution 24-08291,
Yes.
may I ask what is that? What is the application that you're making to the state? You're making an application to receive the grant or to increase it or to put more specifics as to what you were to apply it for?
This is an application that is done on a yearly basis on behalf of the township. It helps fund the LEAD program, and there's some additional things, Chief, that
It goes to our Jakarta, which is some of the, it's the Governor's Council on Addiction, Alcohol and Drug Abuse, and we use that on promotional items to offset some of the expenses of our family resource centers.
May I ask how many liquor licenses are available in the township of Gloucester, or maybe more specifically to the city of Blackwood that the Gloucester Township municipality resides in, since Gloucester Township is a vast township and it goes through many cities and towns and boroughs within Camden County. Is it a common or knowable knowledge right now to know how many liquor licenses are available or have been given within the, I live in the city of Clementon, New Jersey, but since this municipality is located physically in the city of Blackwood, how many liquor licenses do you have? I only ask because if you're making the resolution for against alcohol and drug abuse, once or twice a year, liquor licenses were filled up most of the agenda. There were several pages of them for the amount that were distributed throughout Gloucester Township, more specifically to the Clementon side of Gloucester Township, further down into the Blackwood area, especially where you have the beer fest at least once a year, correct?
Yes. So there, I can't give you off the top of my head. That's something that the clerk can provide to you.
I mean,
because
approximately 10, 20,
I
100.
can't tell you that off the top of my head. But I will tell you this, that part of this funding goes to a LEAD program. So if you recall, when we were children, there was a DARE
I
program.
remember the beer program.
Yes, so it's changed names similar to that. And this is educating our elementary school students and our middle school students about the dangers of alcohol and drug use.
Oh, I appreciate that the township participates in making precautions against alcohol and drug abuse. It's just there was so many liquor licenses that were distributed so freely, none were barred or barriered in any way.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, for your time. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Ms. Coyne?
Denise Coyne, Choose Landing. Do you want me to move this back?
Sure. Thank you.
Resolution 295. Can you tell us what this is for, the 10-lot major subdivision? Is that 10 single-family homes, 10 lots of townhomes? What is that?
I believe they are single-family homes. Where is it? They're single-family homes.
And do you know who's building those or who's requesting to build those?
I don't have that. I don't have the name of the builder here. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
It's the other one, I'm sorry. I apologize. Romano Holdings.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else would like to speak that's not spoken yet? Anyone else like to speak? We still have some time left on the first public portion. Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. We have a proposal from Pettit and Associates regarding engineering services for the Timber Cove Park, a resurface of the tennis and court and basketball court. So we obtained a local recreation improvement grant to retrofit the existing tennis court to a combination tennis pickleball court and to resurface the existing tennis and basketball courts with asphalt overlay and apply acrylic surface with court stripings and markings. Pettit Group is our recreational engineer, so I need a straw poll to approve this, in the cost of $12,500 for design, bid, construction, and meetings and conferences regarding this project. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'm sorry, straw poll. I'm sorry, we don't need that, straw poll.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is our waive the reading, accept the minutes of workshop session July 8th, 2024, and the regular session July 8th, 2024, and July 22nd, 2024. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Thank you. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance first reading and introduction. There will be a hearing at the second reading. Ordinance 0-24-20, ordinance amending chapter 81-32A of the Code of the Township of Gloucester entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This addresses section 81-32A designated as do not block the box and is hereby amended as follows. The following locations are hereby amended as do not block the box locations. Name a street, Blackwood Clementon Road at the location of the Blackwood Fire Department exit, and Almanesson Road at the location of the Blenheim Fire Department exit. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is our consent agenda. Any council member would like to have any of the items removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next, resolution 2408-298, resolution authorizing the execution of the sidebar agreement to the collective negotiations agreement between the Township of Gloucester and Teamsters Union Local 500. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
I'll take first and second. Thank you. Down there. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes, Mr. Cars, thank you for your work on that. I do appreciate it. We have one GTE Gov Access email. This is from Monica Hodson at 102 Elaine Avenue in Blackwood. Is there anything the council can do to improve the safety of pedestrians at East Railroad Avenue and West Church Street crosswalk? This crosswalk is a part of the walking trail. I'm an active person who likes to walk and was elated to find a trail next to my new home back in 2020. Today, I do not hold that same feeling for the trail. Numerous times, even with children, at that specific crosswalk, I have almost been hit by a speeding driver who ignores the flashing lights, the yield to pedestrian signs, and actual people trying to cross the street. More recently, during a walk on the trail, a speeding vehicle had to swerve to avoid hitting myself and my spouse. When I yelled that the sign clearly shows pedestrians have the right of way, the passenger of the vehicle that almost struck us exited said vehicle and punched me in the face. The driver also exited the vehicle and stated that they were not at a crosswalk, that she doesn't see a stop sign. As you can see, our community members are not only at risk for being struck by a speeding driver, but also the risk of being involved in a road rage incident that could end badly. I look forward to your response and actions towards improving safety. Thank you for your time. Ms. Hodson, I'm sorry that you were struck in the face. It's unfortunate. Today, the business administrator met today with the mayor, the police chief, and the township engineer to discuss solutions for the situation. The township engineer, along with the police, will look into the issue and propose a solution to address the safety concern. That leads us to our second public portion. This is for 30 minutes. Each speaker is allocated 5 minutes. Once someone has spoken, they may speak again. Once everyone else has spoken, Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel.
Good evening.
I have one generic question to ask. I don't know if there's a definite yes or no answer to it, because it involves another town that has a similar sports situation as we do. Would there be any reason that our town would have any of our recreational facilities locked, like the hockey rinks, basketball courts, baseball, when not in use by the organizations? Would there be any reason that our township would lock the residents out of them?
Mr. Carter, is that something you address?
Yeah, I mean, I have to look into it, Red. Again, had I known, I would have checked with Bill Fagan to see what the,
Okay.
what's going on there.
I can call
I
back
don't
to
know what they're locking, if they're locking the.
I've not seen it.
Like
In our
concession-
township?
Concession stands, obviously, they're gonna be locked, but like, I'm thinking, just like Gloucester Township hockey, would they lock the rinks so no one can get in there? I don't know.
They have not, and as a matter of fact, I utilized it during the off time, and I was getting ready for a tournament recently, so they were very accommodating. It was just, like I said, just,
And then the fields at Gloucester Township Community Park, there really is no way to lock those, so they're.
no, I didn't think so. It just, and I'll talk to Bill.
But does it happen? We had 3 baseball guys here, and I tell you, when I was involved with Kiwanis, the fields were locked on occasions because there was fear of the fields being torn up.
I
Kids,
get that.
bikes and everything. I don't know about you, Jim or Michael, when you're involved, GT or Hero.
They were locked, but then it was advised that the cutting grass couldn't get in there.
Yeah, I get it.
Keep the locks off.
That was just a throwaway question.
Okay.
On my major topics, so last time I was here, I threw out some numbers regarding the outlay of investment that New Jersey American Water would put out to procure our sewage system. I gave numbers which would appear to be what it would take for them to get their investment back without any interest to the freeholders. No one disagreed or proved me wrong with any of those numbers. And so either those numbers are dead on, or the possibility is that they may do a pooling where other towns will pay for New Jersey American Water's outlay of all that money to Gloucester Township. We'll be enriched, while you will be enriched with $143 million and $90 million infrastructure improvement, and the rest of other areas will pay for that. This being the beginning of New Jersey American Water's venture to procure these types of situations will mean that as they begin to absorb more towns and they lay a lot of money out, we will be paying for that in the future as well. So there's really no way that our bills are not going up. One way or another, they're going to go up. So you guys have been stating that Mayor in his capacity as mayor has not participated in any way in this project. I'd like to know from the administration, we only have one representative of that, have you dealt with, or has anyone in our administration dealt with David R. Mayor of New Jersey American Water, and or any of his subordinates during this deal?
That was a question for the administration. Is that
It
correct?
was, but
Mr.
I have to direct it towards you.
Carter?
I have not dealt with David Mayer involving any of this.
Or any of his subordinates thereof from New Jersey American Water.
I've dealt with individuals from New Jersey American Water, obviously through the bidding process and communication after the bid.
Okay. If I may move on, I got two more and then I won't have to get back up, which would please everybody. So vote yes, GloucesterTownship.com is a website encouraging people to vote yes. There's a lot of real fuzzy and funny information on there. It just so happens you can't find out who owns that website. The fact that it mentioned that our taxes will go down and keep taxes in check would lead me to believe that that's not something New Jersey American Water put up, because they have no business talking about our taxes. Therefore, do you have any knowledge as to who or what PAC, in the best of your knowledge, is responsible for this website that is encouraging people to vote yes for their bills to go skyrocketing, for somebody else to own our sewer?
That is American Water website. It is not funded by.
And they're talking about our taxes. That seems like it's none of their business.
That is their website.
Thank you for that information, and I really appreciate that, Orlando. I guess my last question is, towards Council President, if I may ask Ms. Troxel, who was not here for that vote, how she would have voted on that particular second reading of the sale of the sewer moving forward.
If Ms. Troxel wants to answer that, she may.
I would have voted yes, because I feel that the people in this township have the opportunity. It's important for them to have the opportunity, whether they want to vote it down or up.
Okay. And all the work was done by you guys to put that on the referendum.
Pardon me?
Thank you for, you guys did you dissolved the MUA, you put it up for bid, now you're putting it in the hands of people when all the work was already done. It's all but sold. That, I was just interested in how you would
It's
have.
already sold.
I'm sorry?
You're telling me it's already sold.
No,
I
it's
didn't
just,
know that. You're telling me something.
no, all the work is done for the sale. When the beginning, it was already dissolved by this body. And that's all. Thank you for your time, and I hope not to have to get up again.
Ms. Smithman.
Hi, good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. It did, in the announcement at the beginning of this meeting, it said that the time date of this meeting is recorded, but it was not announced.
No.
Oh.
It said it was adequately advertised, the
Correct.
time, date, and meeting of this place.
Is it announced during the meeting what the day is?
No, it's at the top of the agenda.
Is it possible to get it verbatim?
I'll consider it.
Great, thank you. What is today's date for this meeting?
Today is Monday, August 26, 2024.
Thank you very much, President Mercado. Would it be a bother to announce what last week's meeting was scheduled? As I recollect, it was August the 8th, 2024.
The last meeting,
Correct, the last
it was
township
2 weeks
council meeting?
ago, it was the 12th of August, our last meeting here. We had a meeting on a Monday, following the August 8th meeting.
Oh, there was an additional meeting?
No, it was a regular scheduled meeting. We meet on the second and fourth Mondays of the month.
Thank you for clarifying that. On my walk here on Kelly Driver Road, I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. I'm a pedestrian. I travel via Kelly Driver Road. At the intersection of a street called Constanoga, there appeared to be damage to part of the, it would seem to appear to be a light pole. There was a loose wire hanging. It seemed as though it had been there. I don't know if possibly it was a hit and run, like if somebody hit it, did not call it in. There was no debris other than the damaged pine pole. Was anybody made aware of that?
No,
Constantinople.
Conestoga, Conestoga, light pole.
That's correct. It
On your
looked as
way
though,
home-
it
On
looked
your way
as,
home, Ms. Smith, is it possible there are numbers that identify that light pole?
I just gave the intersection. The numbers are unreliable. The closest intersection is Kelly Driver Road and Constanoga. It is
Okay.
on the southbound side of Kelly Driver Road.
I'll have someone check it.
Thank you, Chief.
There did appear to be a wire. Yeah, there did appear to be some type of cable on the ground. If, at the very least, it would be considered a tripping hazard. I have still been trying with much difficulty to get some kind of assistance with a possible fraud involving a crime against the federal government and the state of New Jersey. May I ask, is it, since a lot of my inquisitions, like am I trying to seek assistance in some form from the municipality or the local Gloucester Township Police Department? Has there been any complaints against myself? My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. Has there been any complaints made against myself by anyone in this township, either by the employees of this township or by other local citizens, members of the public? It's a yes or no question.
I have not received any complaints regarding you.
Would you mind asking the local police municipality? They would be aware of that also.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Would he be required to make me aware if anybody had in any form made a complaint against me, Shaughnessy Smithman, if they did not know my name, where I reside in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex, apartment 341, located on Millbrook Court?
I'm not aware of the requirement to inform you.
Could you please ask the chief of police? Everybody works for him.
She was the target of a criminal investigation. There's no requirement to inform.
No, I mean any complaints against other common citizens of any form. I would like to be aware. I don't want to upset anyone. That's a question.
Well, Ms. Smithman, I'm befuddled by your line of questioning here, to be honest with you.
Is there any
I don't know.
comment?
I don't know.
Is there any complaint of any
We have no
form?
complaints against you, Ms. Smith.
Well,
No
you
one has
don't, you have
identified
none.
that.
I'm
Nobody
asking,
has addressed me either.
No one has, Ms. Smith.
well, in an official manner through the local Gloucester Township Police Department.
The chief has responded to it.
No, he did not.
I answered your question. There's no requirement, if you are a target of a criminal investigation, to inform you.
Not a criminal investigation, a complaint of
Ma'am, we
just,
only deal with criminal investigations in the police department.
Is
how
there
would somebody find out if they were involved in a criminal investigation? The only information I was made aware of is that there was a fraud allegation case that I opened, and it was opened and closed without my participation in any form other than to give all the evidence and paperwork to show that there is possible fraud,
Ms.
a
Smith?
felony fraud.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Is
you.
there anyone else who would like to speak? Mr. Leader?
David Leader, 1105 Huntington Avenue, Glendora. On August 8th, the special meeting we held was to be in unlimited time in 5-minute segments. President of the council chose to choose left side, right side of the room. People raised their hand, he acknowledged them, and people spoke, myself included. Towards the end of that, if you check the video at 2 hours and 57 minutes, you'll see the president of the council asking if anybody else wanted to speak. I had my hand raised. The president of the council acknowledged 2 women in the back of the room and ignored me. When those people were done speaking, the president of the council closed the discussion of the meeting. I sat there for a minute and I heard the gavel and I said, oh, wait a minute, I'm still here. I had my hand up. I had my hand up when he called for this side of the room. It's come to my attention that that the president of the council ignored my First Amendment right to speak. I said twice, I demand to be heard. Each time you had an opportunity to say, what are you talking about, Mr. Leader? You said nothing other than you needed to move on with reading the resolution. So the second time I said, I demand to be heard. If you had asked me, I would have said, you're abridging my Second Amendment, First Amendment rights to redress my government with grievances. But you never asked. And everybody else just sat here and saying, why is that idiot yelling? I demand to be heard. Well, that's why I was yelling. I have a First Amendment right to be heard. And you abridged that, Mr. President.
May I respond to you, Mr.
Yes, sir.
If you go back and watch the video, this side of the room, after I said, does anyone would like to speak here? And then this side of the room, there was two individuals, you and Mr. Shuck from Wyuk. And I said, they will be our last two speakers. No one else raised their hands. You spoke, and then Mr. Shuck spoke, and then I said, we'll close the public portion.
Ladies, is that true?
Watch the video, Mr. Leader.
I did.
Watch it again.
You acknowledged two ladies in the back of the
No,
room.
incorrect. There was two individuals that were left that had their hands up. You, Mr. Leader, and Mr. Shuck from Wyuk.
Well, maybe we'll both watch the video to see who's right.
Please do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was, I see a lectern over there. You folks are up on the dais. You stare down at the people here who are trying to represent themselves in the township. I think it would be more comfortable for me, I don't know about other speakers, if that lectern were to be here. I'd like to have my notebook in front of me. I'm going to switch to a laptop. I'd like to have that in front of me while I'm speaking. The other points I'd like to make about the room, I mean, maybe you need to wait till January to see if this is something you want to resolve to deal with. But the video from that camera, you can't see who's speaking. You cannot see a mouth open and close. All you can do is hear it. The vision from that camera is very poor. I suggest you put a camera in, aiming at the middle of the dais so that we can see, when we look at the video, who is speaking. In addition, I think the people at the dais have a responsibility to look at the microphone. Where is it placed? Am I speaking into it? Because several times I had to mildly shout, I didn't want to be a commotion, please speak into the microphone. And of course, I never said it loud enough where the speaker could hear it. I think it's rude that you expect us to stand here in front of the microphone and be loudly heard while you have the option to speak from where you're seating rather than leaning forward or moving the microphone. I'd like you to consider that as one of your resolves next January. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council. Ira Eckstein, Glen Oaks. At the August 8th meeting, I made the comment about the pickleball courts and the infamous pedestrian bridge being a cost of $32,000.
Yep.
You told me I was wrong.
I said it didn't cost $32,000.
Right, exactly. How much did it cost?
I'll ask the business administrator to pull that up and provide all the receipts and the actual cost of that bridge.
Well, how come when I put an Oprah request in after the meeting, I got paperwork?
Is that correct, Mr. Curtis? Did that come to your office?
I don't recall when he submitted an Oprah. When did you submit an Oprah?
A couple days after the meeting. I got the result.
I did not respond to an Oprah from you about a bridge.
It came from the clerk's office.
Madam Clerk, did you receive an Oprah?
Yes.
Okay.
Then it went to the CFO. It did not come to me. I did not see it.
I didn't say you. It still doesn't change the fact that everything they sent me said $32,000. And if you say it's not $32,000, then what is it?
In my conversation with the individuals that worked on that project, they had indicated to me it was not $32,000 for that.
That's what they told you? It wasn't $32,000?
So I will follow up with that, Mr. Eckstein. And if it's $32,000, I'll say my bad and I apologize, but I don't believe it was $32,000.
Well, my question is if it wasn't $32,000, how come the clerk's office sent me paperwork saying that it was 32,000?
I don't know, sir.
What do you know?
I do know I'm gonna look into this because I don't believe it was $32,000. Thank you, Mr. Eckstein. You have a great evening. Ms. Coyne.
Denise Coyne, Shoes Landing. The $32,000 bridge, do you think $32,000 is way too much for that bridge?
I don't believe it was $32,000.
But if it was, would $32,000 be way too much for that bridge?
So I would, if you're just talking about the material there, yeah, I would assume that $32,000.
5.5 by 8-foot pedestrian bridge. Way too much, correct?
So I'm not a contractor, but I would think that's a bit high.
Okay.
So to my understanding, and Tom, I don't know if you can confirm this, but that project was bid on, was lowest bidder for 400 and some thousand, whatever the total project was for. They also included that as a line item, some $1,000. But they were the low bidder for the entire project. And I believe that's what they listed as the line item. I don't know if we get the breakdown per detail per the line item, but at the end of the day, they were the lowest bidder for the project, for the entire project. And that was one portion of it. So if they put $5, if they put $50,000, they were still the low bidder, from my understanding, for the entire project.
Yeah, I believe it was $454,000.
And of that 450,000, the bridge was part of that. So when they listed it, I think they listed it as a line item of $30-some thousand, not 100% correct. But what I do believe is that that was the entire project, and that was just one item of the entire project.
Yes, line 23, I believe,
Right.
32,000.
Yeah, so, but they were the low bidder, so no matter
Okay.
what, they still got the entire project.
Moving on, at a previous meeting, it was said there was an option to commence another procurement procedure if the referendum for the sewer fails. Could you explain that, please?
That we could follow that process again. If
The same exact process,
that is correct.
put it out as a referendum once again.
That's correct.
Is there like immediately after? There's no timeline restrictions. So if the voters voted down the following day, you could start all over?
For the next general election, that's it. That could be an option.
Okay, so is that the only option?
Only option for, no, we're not interested in doing it. What's it called, a WIPA?
Yeah, we're not looking.
A WIPA is when you're saying basically that,
Yeah, I know what it's saying. I'm just asking, is that the only
okay,
option?
you know what it's saying, okay.
Yeah, I know what a whippet is. I don't need it explained. I'm just asking.
Well, I'm trying to respond to you, Ms. Coyne.
I understand, but I'm letting you know, I know what it is. You don't need to explain it. I understand it. I'm only asking, is
Thank
that
you for
the
explaining
only
that to me.
other option?
Yes, for right now.
Okay. What do you mean for right now?
Yes, if it's a WIPA, if our sewer falls in disrepair, that's an option. I don't foresee us doing that, but that is the option. A referendum, yes. If it was defeated, you can go through the whole process for the next general election,
So those are the only two options, referendum or whippet?
to my understanding. Is that what you understand?
Yes, that's what I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak that has not spoken yet? Ms. Smithman, followed by Mr. Leader. And those will be our last two speakers because the time will elapse.
Hello, good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court, apartment 341. It is considered the lower section of the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. The back of my apartment actually faces Kelly Driver Road, although it is not a part of the apartment complex where I reside. I was in attendance to a local, I think it was a Gloucester Township Planning Board meeting. And there was a type of conference up front, or maybe it was the workshop before last, the first township council meeting. The amplifying devices that are provided for the council members, if they are in too close a contact with each other, they actually make a reverb. What is the term when the amplifying devices or recording devices are, I'm sorry?
Feedback.
Yeah, it made like a loud tone sound. I had the same effect with when I had a landline telephone in my apartment, when I would go to place the phone back on the receiver, it would make almost like a whistling type of sound. So if anybody is suggesting that the township council is not properly amplifying their voices, if those microphones are placed too close to each other, it actually has a negative effect and it won't properly record the audio. At least that's how it was explained. One of the people in attendance at that meeting actually moved the microphone closer to these front microphones, and it crossed the frequency somehow, like a crossed wire, but it's wireless. I had never contacted this municipality or the Gloucester Township, New Jersey Police Department via email in any way. I have made 2 Open Public Records Act requests, one of which I was told I did not fill the paperwork out properly, and the second one did not include one of the first police reports that would have been made in this township, because while I lived in Williamstown, New Jersey, at the time my son's father resided in the Fountain View Village apartment complex, I had to call a local police to assist in a domestic type of situation. And that was not included in the Open Public Records Act request. And once again, I've never spoken to or contacted the Gloucester Township, New Jersey Police Department via email. May I ask, how would somebody who, as the chief suggested earlier, might be involved in some type of investigation, how would they be made aware of that? How would they even contact me? I've never used technology to speak to anyone in this township or the police department, not in any form, not in any time of my life. I didn't have a phone, a smartphone from, I think, the year 2022, February, until November 2023, because I was so behind on the technology that AT&T told me they were allowed to turn my phone off because it wasn't smart enough. I have to believe them. So rather than trying to seek money to pay for the technology that they're claiming I need, I just went without a cell phone, because that's all I had been doing my entire life, was struggling to pay for common things like living indoors, heat, electric, gas. Like apparently your landlord can give you the water bill for no reason. I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but the municipality for Monroe Township, you pay once for the water and then you pay twice for the drain. So if you pay $1 for the gallon of water, you pay $2 to put that gallon of water in the drain. So you actually pay $3 for every gallon of water consumed through their meter. I know that now because I had to pay that. As well as a tax-paying citizen, to the best of my knowledge. My father, God rest his soul, passed away in March of 2006. So they say. He is really deceased, yet nobody actually knows because he was alone. Nobody was with him when he actually expired. Never told me how to do taxes. So I always had to pay someone for that civil duty. If I'm a human being and so is what is considered the chief of police, is there any way he can inform me if there has been any type of paperwork involving my name or where I reside in the SD Cambridge Gardens apartment complex, since I've never contacted them via email?
Ms. Smithman, thank you for your time. The chief had addressed that earlier. Thank
He
you.
did not answer the question though, but thank you for clarifying.
Mr. Leader.
On August 8th, you see the video at 21 minutes, 33 seconds. Mr. Mercado said that the mayor's office and Mr. Cardis came to see Mr. Mercado with the idea to dissolve the MUA.
That's a correction. Mr. Cardis came to see, not Mr. Cardis in the mayor's office.
It's on videotape.
No, Mr. Cardis.
In any event, it would be great if Mayor would take the time to respond to email and phone requests. I've posed the question several times that if America Water offers him compensation as a result of the sale of the sewer system, that if he would refuse it. I've gotten no response. Seems reasonable to me, since we've been talking about this for 6 months, and all 6 months, the mayor has not been involved in any way, shape, or form. If he's not involved, he shouldn't get compensated by American Water, and he should have no trouble denying that compensation would ever happen. So I just want to go on record as saying I've asked this question and gotten zero response. We also were talking about the 9% discount letter. Mr. President advised the clerk to put it online on the website. It's not there yet. Similar to the sewer utility 25% discount, Mr. Mercado advised the clerk to put that on the website as something they could download. I've looked at the documents section. I did keyword searches. I cannot find those two documents on the website.
Is there anything else?
I'm just wondering if you have a response, if the council has a response to having.
So I
Given
requested
instructions.
I requested to have the senior discount information made available. So we'll follow up, Nancy, and also with our communications department regarding that. In regards to the 9%, that is part of the bid. Mr. Cardis, we had discussed about the letter that when they had qualified that the 9% is not compounded, it's part of the bid. That was a resident who brought it up that said it was compounded. It's part of the bid. It's not to exceed 9% over the 5-year period.
Yeah, that's not what I'm dealing with. It's not what I asked.
Well,
I
no,
said
you asked for that. You
I was
asked for the
offered the
letter.
letter personally.
You what? Excuse me?
I was offered the letter personally.
Let's get on the letter then.
And I said I would rather download it from the website where I know it'll be seen by the public. You seem to agree. Maybe you don't anymore, but
No, Mr. Leader, if you want a copy of that, that's fine. We'll provide you a copy.
I'd rather download it, sir. It's public knowledge information.
But it is part of the application, the request for bids that was sent there. We will provide you a copy of that, Mr. Leader. Is there anything else?
I'd like to go on record as stating there was no public meeting about dissolving the MUA. The public did not have an opportunity to participate in that decision. Or was there a public meeting about the sale of the sewer utility?
That's not true. That's not true. There was a hearing. There was a public hearing. It was on a Zoom call, and there were there are individuals that are in this room.
I see. I must have missed that call.
That was a Zoom meeting. It was a publicly advertised Zoom meeting to dissolve, and that was held by the local finance board. I attended that along with other people, and there were people that are in this room, in that audience, that were on that Zoom call.
I can see why you feel offended. I was unaware of that. I missed that announcement.
I just want to get the facts straight.
Sure, I appreciate that. That's all I'm looking for here is honesty and facts.
Mr. Leader, you're making some statements where there's some holes in some of your statements.
Got my 5 minutes. Go ahead, 22 seconds. Bore me another hole.
Please continue, Mr. Leader.
No, I'll save the rest for future meetings. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you very much. With that,
Thanks.
we'll close the second public portion, polling the directors.
Mr. Cardis.
Council President, did you want me to review what's going
No,
to
that's fine.
happen?
Chief Harkins.
Nothing to report.
Mr. McGill.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Mignon.
Thank you for coming. Have a great week.
Mrs. Albright Troxel.
Thank you for coming.
Mr. Nash.
Have a great night.
Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great night.
Mrs. Winters.
Have a great night.
Mr. Mercado.
Thank you for coming out this evening. Have a great Labor Day weekend. We are accepting applications for Hispanic Heritage Month, and we'll be celebrating those individuals at our September 23rd meeting. I hope everybody's here at 7:30 for that presentation. We look forward to having you. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Have a great evening, everyone.
Yeah, I think so. Dylan was gonna come, but she got an invitation to go to her friend's. Oh, that's good. So she skipped out.
We had candy on the counter.
Oh, yeah. She was ready to come. Yeah.
Here, right here, I need
Yeah. That's true.